Smoking through it all, cause nothing in life lasts forever. We don't want these hoes, don't want the fame, we want the cheddar. Told her we can have it all if we do it together. You know I'ma pass the ball, but only to my brother. You know I'ma pass the blunt, but only to my sister.
We're live, so it ain't exclusive if it ain't an EMLN exclusive. It's your boy BQ, and we in the beautiful downtown San Jose, and welcome to the Low Key Facts podcast. I'm accompanied by my guest, JD, in the building.
How you doing? How you doing?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? How's everything going?
Chilling. Everything's good. Everything's good. I can't complain. I cannot complain.
Today is a very special day, special moment, because we finally got two entrepreneurs in the same room.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And there's a lot of creators, a lot of hustlers out there. I've met so many people across the spectrum in our city, but when it comes to people that I see doing empowering, giving education, doing different formulas that result to positive results, like you encouraging people to follow this method. And I'm like, that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Because you already got people left and right trying to trick us to fall into these different algorithms and different forms of education that sometimes might not actually be best for them in their lifestyle at that moment. But there's something about entrepreneurship that I feel like is for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't think entrepreneurship is for you. Entrepreneurship is for everyone.
I agree.
Period.
I agree in a certain aspect. You know, I think that everybody should have some form of a side hustle. You know, I think one of the next projects that I'm going to try to work on in a written form of some sort is like side hustle.
Hell yeah.
You know, I think that everybody has a passion, and I think you need to learn how to monetize that passion. I think that we really seen that in this COVID thing to where the government definitely helped out a little bit, and you know, but my business was my saving grace as far as my sanity, as far as bringing in money, as far as connecting with people, as far as even when the pandemic first started, I had a fix and flip, so I was able to just work on that project and learn real estate, you know, and that all the, you know, part of the funds for that came from my entrepreneurial spirit and taking action. So, you know, I think that there's more than just monetary benefits to hustling or being an entrepreneur. I think that there's also health benefits, and I think that, you know, there's networking benefits, and, you know, for me, nothing wrong with drinking, nothing wrong with smoking, but it gives me a healthy outlet for my creativity. You know, instead of having to drink on a Saturday, I get to drop a podcast. So it has a lot of benefits outside of the money thing, and that actually saves you money.
No, I agree with that 100%, bro. I think entrepreneurship is a form of, it's a solution to mental health for some people. Because I feel like, you know, during this pandemic, a lot of people are traumatized by some of the things they grew up in. They're locked down, quarantined, no source of income, trying to figure out if they're going to survive COVID. Like, there's all these different variables that are going through every single individual right now. Some people are like, you know, I don't even know how I'm gonna find work. 40 million people right now unemployment. So it's like, there's so much evidence that is giving people that excuse to not do something. Yeah. So like, to come back that with the ideology of making your own profit, I think that's super powerful. And we're gonna unpack all these things because I think there's a lot of different directions to go about this podcast, but I want to give a proper formal introduction for you, for sure, to give people a chance to know about who you are. And, you know, even before the entrepreneurship, I want to know about, you know, where you grew up and who'd you grow up around? What was your environment like? So let's unpack those things. So tell me.
So pretty much my name's JD. My real name's John Dale Sparks, but I bartend. Been bartending for the last 10 years, and everyone thinks I'm saying John Doe. So I just changed it to JD. Okay. And then it just kind of, as time went on, I just kind of accepted JD as my you know, your alias. And then
would you call it a brand name, or what would you?
JD's just what people call me if they know me. I just like, hey, I'm JD. I'm pulling up. It's just like your name. Just easy to remember, easy to say. My real name is John Dale's a little bit tougher, but yeah, that's my name. I'm owner of Part of the Culture. I've probably been rocking that brand for about 3-4 years now.
So what is Part of the Culture? Because I know exactly when I see it on the gram with all the content you've been promoting, but when someone asks you, what do you do? What do you tell them?
Pretty much I have 2 businesses. It's a print business. I can print any type of garment, banner, sticker, sign that you want. And then I also have an education part of that where I teach people business, I teach people entrepreneurship, I teach people investing. So that's kind of the two brands. And then on the printing side, I can do, graphic design. I can do video editing. And so I kind of just have my network of people that kind of tap into that. And then I try to post as many jobs as I do so that people kind of, oh, he does this. Oh, he does that. Okay, I need this. And then we can network and work together. But yeah, printing is my main business. Video and graphic design are kind of my side hustles to that business that kind of complement it. And then the information stuff, I just wanted a business that was easy, that complemented. And so I do business every day. So I felt like maybe I should teach business. And a lot of people have the skill of selling a physical product. And I wanted to develop my skill of also being able to sell a digital product. Because as you know, you have some clothes back here. You had to spend $10 in order, there's cost. With digital products, there is cost. Like I pay for like some domain names and stuff.
It's like a one-time type of
but the costs are, there is cost, but the costs are different, and so and you can sell, I can be anywhere in the world and sell digitally. Also you can do that with physical, but like digital's it's a little bit more fluent. So there's pros and cons to everything. So my digital business was to kind of expand on that. I've written 2 books. I've written 2 books, 2 hardcover books. I've written 1 ebook. I keep wanting to say audiobook, but it's an ebook. I also have a podcast, and it's just all just delivering information that helps people level up, which really to me just means help people reach their goals.
Most definitely, man. Delivery like dominoes, man. Executing from left to right. You got so much going on, bro. Honestly, like where does that stem from? Cause like I want to unpack all those things because I see so much value in that, but I'm so curious, like just genuinely, like what inspired you to do these things? You know what I mean? Like in the sense of like, cause you mentioned you had the printing business and you had the digital of the educational aspect of the business. So which one did you start with? And how did you get more?
Well, I guess
to do that?
You can kind of ask questions. I'll kind of just tell you the story, like the origin story.
Okay.
So when I was 18, I read, actually when I was 16, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I just pondered like, man, how can I have a business? How can I have a business? How can I have a business? When I was 18, I learned retail wholesale from a friend that came over to the place I was living at the time. His name was Darryl. Funny story. And he went out, he had a hip replacement, and he had 4 kids, and he would go out to the flea market, and he was supporting his family. And so he called it his business. And so I said, hey, can you teach me when I was 18? He's like, yeah. Literally, he's like, I'm going to take you to his warehouse. I'm going to teach you wholesale and retail. I learned wholesale and retail, but I learned it with tools. I spent maybe $120. My first day I went out to the flea market, I made 60 and still had all the tools left. Second day I made another 60. So I had all my money back and I had all these tools. So pretty much they were either free or profit. And so my mind instantly was open. I was like, okay, I understand.
Because you cracked the code.
Cracked the code. Fast forward, maybe like 2-3 weeks, my boy Mario's like, hey, I know this guy who sells shirts, jerseys, and clothes. My boy Greg at Hip Hop Jewelry and Clothing in Campbell. Not sure. He's still kind of around. But so I went over there, and he actually gave me stuff on consignment. And at the time, Mac Dre had just died. And I was buying T-shirts for $10, and they were flying, gone. And I went from making no money, being a broke ass, to like literally making $300-400 a day. And so cracking the code even more. And then I had, at the flea market, there's a guy who created his own shirts. He had a screen print machine. And he was like, you need to get one. He's like, you can print your own shirts. And he's like, it only costs $3 to make a shirt. And I was paying $10. So I was like, oh, that's $7 more I could make. Next code cracked. So that was in the back of my mind. Then randomly, my boy, this was when weed was starting to blow up in the Bay. Like fools were selling packs. So my boy was like, I used to make T-shirts. I'm selling packs now. He's like, I'm selling my equipment. It's normally $1,000 to $1,500. I'll give it to you for $600. I said, I bought the screen print equipment. So I'm probably like 20 now. So I started in clothing, and then I eventually got into screen printing, and I had my own machine. Once I set it up, my boss, I've been bartending forever since I was 21, 22. I'm 34 now. My boss, he was like, oh, you have a screen print machine? It was St. Patrick's Day. He's like, make some shirts for my thing. And then he was like, I'll pay you. And I was like, all right. Ooh. And so next code, I was like, okay, money, you know, and I made his shirts. I actually figured out how to work with the artist to get the art, but I didn't cure it long enough. So the ink actually, it looked really good. My first project looked amazing, but when you washed it, the ink came off. So that was my first kind of lesson in entrepreneurial. It's like you have to bump your head, but I never gave up. I kept going. Yeah. And then my boss at the time was super popular, and he had a bunch of what's it called? Best friends that had businesses, and so he just kept plugging me with business. And then I kind of my shirt business kind of started, and then I was just getting little clients here and there. And then one of his friends owned a car lot, and the guy at the car lot, he ordered like 400 shirts. But it was the first time in my life, because I bartended, so you don't get big checks. You make tips, but you don't. It's not like I didn't have $1,000 nights. And it was the first time from 18 to maybe 21, I'd never seen a check for $1,000. Actually, in my entire life, I've never seen a check at this time.
And this how old were you at this
time? I was 21.
Yeah.
And I've had $1,000 here, but I've never seen. And so the dude gave me a check for $1,000, and I was like, if I do 100 deals like this, I could have $100,000. And I was hooked once I seen that check for $1,000. I was like, all right, this is for me. And then at the time, like all my friends working at like Starbucks and like retail, and we're all young and dumb.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, I kind of fell off, started bartending. I never drank when I was young. Yeah. Started partying heavy, got into the nightlife heavy, bartending, girls, you know, all that stuff. And then when I was maybe like 23, 24, I was like, I need to get back into this hustle. Yeah. I'm kind of losing myself. I had some family kind of like, hey, it's about that time. Yeah. And I just kicked back. And so then I started hustling just shirts, clothing. I don't know. I was starting to do like a little bit of social media stuff.
Yeah. It was all related to fashion.
All related to fashion.
And fabrics and all that nature. And really quick, just to kind of dive into that, because I think that shit's amazing, because people don't understand that everything you just explained, it takes consistently to continue going and to make hella mistakes. Because you mentioned the ink thing, and I'm like, you know, I know exactly how it feels like to get something and you're unsatisfied with the situation. Yeah. You have to kind of keep fixing it until it gets what you want. And then once you get what you want, you realize, all right, there's a new goal. What's next? So that's a very tedious process.
It is.
Do you feel like there was times where you were going to quit doing that?
I will say there is times that I wanted to quit for sure, and throw in the towel for sure. But I kind of knew that there's a thing like the time's gonna go by. Yeah. And so it's like if I was to quit, and so mind you, for like every little dumb thing that happened, like people had paid me, and it was opening my eyes. And so it sucked and it hurt, and I was very empathetic for the situation, but it hurt so bad that it was like part of the journey of like I'm never gonna do that again. So when the ink melted, it sucked, and you know what I'm saying? But I learned like, oh, you need to cook these shirts longer. Yep. So no customer, you know, I've had it happen maybe once or twice since then, but no customers ever, their shirts are solid. And then, you know, fast forward, you know, 5, 6, 7 years, I understand like when I see a shirt like, yo, is that cooked long enough? Yeah. You know, even my second project, I skewed the image. So how you have your logo here, I didn't know that you had to keep it like that. So I just skewed it so it fit on a t-shirt. Yeah. It was for Cali Wheels. I don't know if you know them.
They're in California Wheels?
Yeah, California Wheels in Campbell.
I know what you're talking about.
And so the guy, shout out to Tommy, he was one of my first big clients. But I literally squished his logo, and I made the shirts. I charged him, and he's like, yo, this isn't my logo. He's like, you squished it. And it sounds so stupid, but I was like, yo, you can't skew logos. And I learned. And so now I knew not to skew logos, and I learned to cook my shirts. It hurt, but I just kept going. So it sucked, and it was embarrassing, you know, but I kept going. I kept going, but I kept taking these L's, but they were also lessons.
Super big
valuable lessons.
Very valuable lessons.
And I have 2 secrets. Secret number 1 is my name has always been more valuable than the money. So like I've always replaced it and just took the L financially, and just made sure that if I ever seen Tommy again, I did him right. I try to make it so no one can ever be like, oh, JD did me dirty. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Very important.
You know, I'm on social media, so people could easily be like, oh, this fool's a clown, or don't do business with him. Or
people will talk too.
They will. It's for sure. And so I tried to build my brand around, even if I fuck up or mess up, I'm gonna make it right, even if it costs me money, because I it's almost like people pay to go to school. So I'm just paying for this lesson. I'm paying for this L, and it's invaluable. So I always kept my name good. And then the second thing that never made me quit is I was like, honestly, I was like, suckers would quit right now. And if I keep going, the more pain I take, the more I'm going to be able to separate myself from quote unquote suckers or people with that are weak-minded. And so the farther that I go on this journey, now it's to the point where you're damn near going to have to be in the game for 10 years to know what I know and to network how I network and to take the L's. And, you know, like Mike Tyson says, like, you're going to get punched in the face. And it's like, can you get back up? And a lot of people, you know, they can't get back up. And so that's the thing that kind of kept me from quitting is like, it's going to separate me.
Most definitely. And it seems like what people don't take away from that, like through all that trial and error and all those lessons, is that develops skill. And at the end of the day, all your services, they're all skills-based services. Like a lot of the things, you have to develop a specific skill.
For sure.
And specialize in it before you can actually offer some. And I feel like, you know, there's a quote that people say like, oh, you don't pay me for the 15 minutes it costs to make it. You pay me for the 15 years it took me to do it in 15 minutes. And that's real. Because like everything you're talking about, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? I don't do the manufacturing. And that's another thing I want to highlight about you too, is that you integrated vertically. You know what I'm saying? Like you actually took the time to do the marketing, the distribution, and the manufacturing. And that's a thing that people don't take the time to dissect enough because they don't realize how that affects them. Because let's just say, like right now with the politics going on in America, like with the politics between China and the U.S., everything is wholesale from China damn near. A lot of these clothing brands that are independently owned, they're like, oh, I order my shit through China. I order my shit through China. What happens when this shit, when they increase the tariffs and now you can't even buy your shit no more. Now you have to find a new plug. But if you already started investing into the lower quality, maybe a smaller business, or you starting your own manufacturing like you did, it's a small tweak for a big result. Because in the long run, now whatever you want to release, you can release whatever the fuck you want to do. And you don't have to worry about how it comes out because you're the one that designs it. So a lot of props to you for that, bro. I think that's important.
You gave some gems. A lot of people aren't going to really be able to tell what you said, but you said it a lot of times in there. And another thing that I kind of feel separates me is I'm willing to spend 3 years on a project.
Oh, period.
I'm willing to the marathon continues.
Period. Shout out to Nip for that game.
Shout out to Nip.
I agree.
And so like you talk about marketing, I spent a year. I didn't know what marketing was. I spent a year or two literally studying, reading every book. I paid for classes on marketing. I paid for classes on sales. I paid, like I'm about to pay $1,500 to learn more about business. You know what I'm saying? I paid to get to this point. And so, and I'm willing, I literally took a whole year and just studied marketing. And obviously, you know, it led to this podcast and it led to money and it led to opportunity and, you know, being able to date the girl of my dreams. And, you know, and it leads to all this stuff. But you got to put in that work. You got to put in that knowledge. You got to be, a lot of these people like they want to, like these kids, like any kid listening, like, yeah, okay, you want to start a clothing line, right? Like, are you willing to eat shit for the next 5 years? You know what I'm saying? You're not going to just start a clothing line and it just blow up and it's everywhere. And it's like, you got to be able to put in the work, and then you have to be able to create a product that adds value. Why you just said like Nipsey Hussle is not known. He didn't, when he died, people weren't sad because a music like person died. They were sad because it was somebody who was giving back to the community.
Super
it was
impactful.
Someone who was preaching to the community. It was somebody who was like adding value. And so because he added so much value, you're willing to spend money on his products. And so another gem is like, learn to add value first, and then people will spend money with you. Then people will take time out. A lot of people just want the money. Not saying fuck the money, but add value. Like one of my clients was like, hey, can you make a menu for me? I said, yeah, obviously I can design it. I have the knowledge on how to design a menu. I went to community college, took 3 to 5 classes on graphic design, just basic stuff. And I learned colorways. I learned how to line up stuff and how to even line up pictures and all types of stuff. But I said, hey, I'll do it. She bought stickers off me, banners off me. She wants to buy shirts off me. I said, hey, I'll do the banner for free. I mean, the menu for free. It's only going to take me 20 minutes.
Yeah, period. And that effort, that gesture is going to go so much long. Because let's just say, and that's the thing, like just to touch on that, is that you don't know where someone's gonna be 5 years from now.
You have no idea.
That person might eat shit right now, and they might invest their last dime with you, and you might just do an extra nice gesture or something like that. 10 years from now, she got her own fucking organization.
She's blowing up.
She gonna look at you as the first person to go to for help.
Yeah,
she needed. So like that's why I think that's important, and I commend you for that, because I think if people were to take the time to just reevaluate how they perceive things, it really impacts the way they actually approach it. Like I look at your bio right here on Instagram. It says, I want to help people create products. I want to help people get from where they are to where they want to be. And it's not even about you. You make it about other people. Yeah. So when did you learn that giving value was the key to success?
Short answer, glory be to God. So glory be to God, and He's the person who spoke through me. I am, religious, but believe in whatever you want to believe in. I'm not going to push my narrative. But it really started from I was in a relationship. I started this journey probably, I'm 30, I'll be 34 this year. So I've probably been on this journey for about 3 years. Yep. 34, 35, 36, 37. So, yeah, when I was maybe about 32, maybe 30, 32-ish, I was in a relationship, and I pretty much cheated on my girl. Yeah. And it was a girl of my dreams. We were together for, at the time, maybe 8-9 years. Yeah. And she was gone. Yeah. And I was so focused on if you really listen, like even during the screen printing plays and that phase and before this time, it was the me show. Yeah. It was all about me. What can JD get? How can JD get it? How can I get the money? And it devastated me. And once I lost her, I was like, what happens if I change the narrative from take to give? God had kind of put it on my heart to start tithing, giving 10% of my income to the church. I go to church regularly, especially when it was like non-COVID. Yeah. He had put it on my heart to do that. So first thing I did is started giving 10% of everything I make. And then I said, it's no longer about me anymore. It's what can I give to this world? And I just literally focused my life on giving everything that I could possibly give, to the people, to the community, to just helping people win. That's my only narrative. And that was the change. And then, I kind of fast forward, I kind of just had a vision put on me. I never really shared this vision, but I'll share it. It's, me and Jesus were on a boat and we're looking at the people, and it's like if I'm ever weak, I'll come on the boat with Jesus and I'll kind of gain my strength back and I'm tired, I'm weak, I'm struggling with this, help me out. But then when my strength is back, I'll walk on water and I'll go and help the people. And that's what my mission is. And anytime I pray, it's like the two things I hear is help the people and enjoy life. You see, I pulled up on a motorcycle. It's like I do, I just went to Tahoe. I rented some jet skis. I definitely try to enjoy my life. But I also as soon as I got back, it's like help the people. Who needs what? Who needs what? Where? How can I help here? And so that day is really the turning point. Then tithing and giving, and then you started realizing once I started tithing to the church, it sounds weird, but then I was going to church and you realize damn, I'm helping pay for the cameras. I'm helping pay, people are broken here. I'm helping heal people. There's a daycare center here. I went through some programs at my church, discipleship programs would help me work with the youth. I met some great contacts at church.
Is this in San Jose too?
Yeah, it's Maranatha Christian Center.
Okay, shout out to
met some great contacts. And so it was just a super positive thing, but you started realizing you're not just giving money to God and it's disappearing. It's actually going to help the community. Yeah, period. They had outreach centers and people from prison have a place to come get clothes and go get some food. They have a closet. If you're hungry, you can go grab some cans. So it's obviously I'm not funding that all by myself, but you start seeing
contribute and you see what it does and how it impacts.
Yeah. And so that was the change. And then,
I think that's huge, though. I think that's really big. Like I mentioned, if people were to take something away from this, it would be how they could change how they perceive life. Because I think just how you said, stop making it about me, and making it about give. How can I give? Yeah. Just having that attitude. Yeah. Is entrepreneurship is the best vessel to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're literally helping people make their visions a reality. You're helping people become educated. And I think those things, like I said, like that is like however way it makes you feel fulfilled. Because I feel like, yeah, money used to be the root for me. But eventually I realized that I have more fulfillment when I see people actually happy about what I had highlighted about them.
Yeah.
Or like what we did to uplift this movement, or how we helped someone's brand get across the U.S., sold somewhere else. Like, that makes me feel great.
That's what it's about.
That's all it's about. Exactly. So,
and if you do that good, you'll ball out.
Exactly. Because E.T. said that. He said you pursue your passion and the success is going to follow.
Yeah.
And he said you pursue what you love doing, you help people, and that success will naturally gravitate to you.
Bro, it's and the thing is like, you know, what you're doing, and you're a little bit younger, but what you're doing, what you don't realize is like when you develop, like you said, the skill, then you can charge for that skill and people will happily pay for that skill. But it's like, you don't like, by uplifting the part of the culture brand, if one person listens to this and gives 10% to their church, I won.
Yeah.
When I get to heaven or wherever happens after this, I don't know. Nobody really knows. But if when I get to my next chapter of whatever this shit is, that's my W. I don't care about like they say you can't, like, somebody could come in here and rob us for all this, but nobody can take the treasures that we, not like that. But you know what I'm saying?
I just fuck with you.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there's a chance that somebody could really put it, you know what I'm saying? But they can't take the goodwill that you do in people's lives. Nobody can steal that. No. And so that's what I try to build up my treasures in, is like, yeah, I stack chips. Like, I'm about my bread. Let's not get the game twisted. But my first and foremost is, do I take care of the people? Because if you take care of the people are going to take care of you.
I think when it comes to the community in San Jose, I think there's so much opportunity, so much talent, so much people that aren't recognized for some of the things that they've done, which is why I launched that Product of Your Environment series. I don't know if you saw that on my page, but
I'm going to check you out a little bit more.
There's some docu-series where we basically highlight people's stories of like different community leaders. Because like I did the Low Key Facts podcast to highlight the hip hop and the fashion and the business. And then Product of Your Environment was more designed about storytelling. Okay. More about like telling a story about someone that really did something. So like the last one we did was featuring Cam, and he learned a lot from that experience, you know, growing up in that environment and literally pivoting that direction to making it about the community, because, you know, he had kids on the way, so he just felt like he had to make a change. Yeah. And then eventually he started the nonprofit, the celebrity basketball games where they have Neff DeFaro, Drew Deasy, the Shoe Palace sponsored it, and then all the funds go to like the charity. I don't know exactly what organization, but I just know that he allocates that. He does the, Snoop Dogg's Pop Warner League. Yeah. Well, it's not Pop Warner, but it's like their football league. The San Jose Hit Squad, that's his organization. So they made an organization for each age group, and they won the championship almost every other year from San Jose. That's cool. And, to come from that background, and to not look like the traditional person to have success and have success, that's so big. You feel me? So that's like why we decided to start that narrative with that production. So I'm hoping to do more with those, and those things are costly, and sometimes it's really a lot of effort to make treatments and get people to meet here at the same time. Yeah, especially with COVID, man, it's a lot. Yeah,
it's hard right now.
What do you feel like in the sense of like entrepreneurship does for people during this pandemic? Because like I was saying off camera, is that a lot of people have been affected by this. Some of them are not proactive; they're reactive. Yeah. So like what's your take on that?
So I think what I've learned about myself first during the pandemic is that I'm way more creative than I could ever imagine. Mm-hmm. When you just give, I'm pretty much a workaholic. So I have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. I bartend on the weekends, and then I still have my business. So just a quick caveat: I have a team. That's how I'm able to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, you gotta have a team. I don't do all this stuff completely by myself. I have people help me with my signs, my banners, my graphic design. I have a team that I've been working with for the last couple of years. Okay. I'm just the face, and I focus on the marketing of the business. Okay. But what I really learned about myself is that I'm way more creative than I had ever imagined. Mm-hmm. I enjoy making videos. I just like being creative. I like so over the pandemic, I wrote 2 songs, created 2 music videos, created a character. His name's Ivan. I don't know if you've seen him.
No, I seen that.
I need to bring him back out. I'm gonna do a little.
I might throw skin in there one time.
Yeah, we should. I'll bring up. We'll do something in the future.
Hell yeah. So my boy Isaac that just got here, he has his own podcast.
That's dope.
It's called Player Moves Only Podcast.
Hey.
It's posted as PMO Podcast on Instagram.
Player Moves Only.
Yeah, you got to check him out.
That's all I make.
That's what I love doing too, is that, like, bringing people together. I get people to network all the time.
Yeah, that's dope.
So we're on the process of trying to figure out how we can collaborate with content and stuff. So that's cool.
You're talking about how this COVID has affected different people, like hustlers and non-hustlers. Yeah. And I'll the only thing that's in my brain is I seen people like either blow up in this time, or like sink in this time.
Oh yeah.
Sure. And so shout out to like my boy, he owns Shrimp and Ain't Easy. Shout out to
I seen that brand. I seen that brand pop up.
Yeah, the Michelada lady.
I seen that.
You know what I mean? Like these people.
My boy Sammy had one. He was flexing it.
Yeah, like
good.
These people took the pandemic, they took that people can't move around, and they created something out of nothing.
Yep.
And so they were probably low key, not like Trump balling off of it, but
but they making money.
They making money off of it, know. And you see, like me, like during when the pandemic was going on, I told you I'm super creative. All I was doing is just creating. No one was really buying nothing.
Yeah.
So all I was doing is like, how can I entertain the people? How can I educate the people? I did a class on how to buy your first stock. I did a class on how to buy real estate. I worked on a real estate deal. I showed the whole process. If somebody wanted to come by the house, hey, you got to social distance a little bit, but you could come pick my brain. Just let me know.
Yeah.
I released an ebook, and I just gave away a lot of game. And I made fun content and funny content and entertaining content and, made some cool social distancing videos. But the second that this country opened back up, people have been watching me the whole time. And so I was like, who am I going to spend my money with? Yep. Like, I'm going to spend money with him. So it's literally from, I don't even know what it is. What is it? August?
Yeah.
From
August 1st, right?
From June 1st, that because they just literally opened up the country, like they're just like restaurants or open patio.
Everyone dining, everyone come through. Forget your mask.
From June 1st until right now, I literally was nonstop busy. Like I'm kind of caught up now, and I still have a few projects, but it came from putting in massive unpaid work during COVID. And so I think a lot of people you seen during that time was like, woe is me, they're watching the news, they're doing this. But I just stuck to my guns, like add value, add value, add value, add value, add value. And then, like I said, if you take care of, entertain, game up the people are going to put bread in your pocket. And so when it was time for people to cash out, get their products made, I was very fortunate to win at this time. And so, to keep it very simple, you reap what you sow, and so that's, and so I think a lot of people in this COVID thing, you can actually just kind of look at how you're going to end up. I could tell you like get a piece of paper and write what you did today to build your brand, to build your business, to, you know what I'm saying? And for me, I've always worked my hustle like a job. Yeah. When I wake up in the morning, I say, okay, I have a notebook right here.
Yeah. I'm the same type of way. I got,
you know what I'm saying?
I got to get a
document. Okay, I got the BYOB project, GOAT project, Linda project, Mind Over Matter. I go through. These are all my projects.
Right there, I see it.
You feel me? And then I write my goals.
I believe that too. You know what's funny about that? Just that little method of like writing shit. It makes such a big difference. You know how people have ideas all the time, but they don't write shit down? Does that bother you?
So this is my thing. I'm going to tell you what bothers me. It's not even that they don't write it down. It's that people don't work their hustle like a business. People will tell me, oh, I want a clothing brand. But it's like you wake up every day and put 8 hours into your clothing brand. Yep. Just because you don't have a garment doesn't mean go interview every clothing brand out there and make content so that when it's time for you to launch a shirt, people know who you are. But put 8 hours in every single day on your brand. If you have a job, put in 3 hours a day. Put in 2 hours a day. But I see people who like, oh, I want to, I'm not going to say the example I'm going to say, but I know like shout out actually to my girl. My girl, she wants more clients. And so I've been telling her, like, you need to post more. You need to do this more. You need to do that more. And she's been getting more business from doing that. But I see people who are like, yo, I want this, or like, I want to have a successful podcast. Like, if you don't have shit else going on, you should be editing these videos. You should be turning the content into a ebook. You should be working this shit every single day like it's a job.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing I see is people are like, yo, I want a brand, and then they come up with the logo, and then they're done.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what bothers me.
Because there's like so many different aspects of that growth that's still in the beginning stage that you haven't gone through, you know? I believe that, bro. Honestly, every day's got to be applied the pressure. Some people have different lifestyles, and it's hard to balance, especially if you work retail or if you work a full-time job.
No excuses.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But after, there's 24 hours in a day. You work 8 hours, you still got 16.
Yeah.
You invest 6 hours of sleeping, you still got 10 hours.
Yeah.
Those last 10 hours, what you doing?
Yep.
That's really how you got to break it down.
They say so. I went to, you know, there's a 1% and there's a 99%.
Yep.
And it's actually, I have the cover and everything ready. It's one of the books I want to write, but I really want to write it, so I'm not rushing it. But the difference between the 1% and the 99% is habits. So this literally, the 99%, they get stuck in an unhealthy habit. They go to work, they wake up, they go to work, they get off work, they eat, get a beer, they watch the same fucking
ESPN,
TV shows,
Stephen A. Smith,
and then they go to bed, and then they repeat that, and then their life stays in this freaking thing. The 1%, on the way to work, they listen to their podcast. They go to work, they have a good little attitude. They get off of work, they work on their side hustle. They invest in something. They spend a little bit of time with their family. When they get home, they exercise. Yeah. And they're not quick to turn on that Netflix. They're not. They're either writing books, they're either working on their brand. And then you see these people like myself where, yeah, you made day one, you don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? But then you see 5 years later, they've written books. They have a product line. They have a distribution network. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the 1%. The 1% and the 99% literally just have different habits. You think about like the Illuminati and all that shit, like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. But you think about somebody, we keep talking about him, Nipsey. Yeah. I see his picture on the wall, R.I.P. to Kobe. What was the difference? Do you think Kobe, if you really listen to Kobe was not gifted with special fucking basketball powers.
He had work ethic, like a
work ethic. Even when he was like 12, 13, 14, he said that he would literally play at every summer camp. He was the first one in the gym, the last one to leave. He said that him and Shaq, you know why him and Shaq literally didn't get along? Is because Kobe Bryant was like, you're unhealthy.
Yeah, he was pressing him.
He was pressing him. And Shaq was like, we're rich. We made it. We've got championships. And he's like, if you could run down the court, we would get 2-3 more rings. We'd be unstoppable. Yeah. And it's all about work ethic. And so you see
the habits are
the habits.
For sure. I agree with that. Even like, you know, but prior to COVID, I was working in software sales. So I've been in sales like since I was 18. Like I started working at the Sprint at the mall. You know, I was telling this fool, like we used to run into each other and shit because we worked at Eastridge Mall.
Okay.
So I worked at the top floor. And keep in mind, that environment is all about like greeting on the flow. And there's a thing too is that when you work for a job, like there's something you should always take away from that job.
For sure.
Like obviously you're taking money, but you should take away skills. You should take away learning, information, and then apply
systems.
Because all that shit applied to everything that you see around here now.
Yeah.
So it's like when all these skills and keep in mind, like tech wasn't something I was ever interested in.
Yeah.
Like somebody had to like break that shit into me, like educationally wise. And then I realized, like, damn, we live in Silicon Valley. 60% of the economy is generated just from Silicon Valley. Yeah. And like, this is my backyard. In my fucking backyard, I don't know shit about Google, LinkedIn. I don't know about the opportunities. All I think is that if you're in tech, you're a software engineer. Yeah. And you're a nerd. Yeah. That's all I know. But then eventually, there's a lot of truth to that. I met, have you ever heard of Ruben Harris?
No.
Okay. His name, I was telling you about this. Ruben Harris, he's the owner of a tech company called Career Karma. And basically what his company does is that they bridge the gap between non-traditional people like minorities, people that don't have degrees, certificates, to break into jobs into tech, like Microsoft, like sales positions, business development. And that's where the conversation started. And, you know, him and my other mentor, Timmy, they kind of told me, like, bro, like, first he told me, like, you know how to edit videos? You could code. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, coding, like, I haven't done shit like MySpace days. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't really sit right with me. I wasn't inspired by that. Yeah. But then he told me about, he's like, he said, tech isn't only sales. I mean, it isn't only coding. Like, there's sales, too. Yeah. And I was like, what? Word? Like, let me learn about it. And eventually, a year later, I broke into this company called Memory Blue as an SDR, which is like basically business development. You're doing like cold calling, you're doing email outreach, you're doing all these different variations of trying to obtain a business, basically. And bro, once I broke in and I saw the game of what people do in tech, I just started applying it. I started sending calendar invitations. You said you got my shit. Something so small. I
was very impressed by that because I do that, but I teach people to do that. I'm like, yo, you know that you just. I'm gonna the sales thing, and you'll go. Well, I'll go off on a caveat. The number one, I read a sales book. I'm gonna teach a class on sales. Oh, shit, the number one rule in sales is set the appointment. If you want, this is not just like to sell a fucking couple. You want a girlfriend, you want a date, you want to make some money.
You want to make some
set
happen, period.
the appointment.
That's
real. And so
real.
when you did that, that let me know you were serious because a lot of cats like. That's literally like, hey, someone hits me on slides in my DM. Hey, I'm interested in shirts. Hey, when do you have a moment to talk? That's me learning when I can set the appointment. Okay, you can talk in a day or two. We talk in a day or two. And then the second thing in sales is asking for the sale. Once I tell you about a banner, and then I say the banner is $200. Do you want this? Don't say shit.
Don't you say words, they say something.
And then yes or no. So those are the two things. Set the appointment, which is huge, and then ask for the sale. It's like he asked, and he did that. He was like, hey, are you interested in being on the podcast? I said, sure. He said, what's your schedule? He set the appointment. So that's game.
Boom.
And that's, but go ahead.
And where I'm going with this is that like every single job I've ever been through, whether it was busing, whether it was selling phones at the mall, whether it was selling software, like there's so much game in all these industries that you can apply to your own entrepreneurship and your entrepreneurial path. And I feel like a lot of the shit I've learned just these past 2 years have really elevated my approach on everything. So, that's the thing I was just trying to piggyback on is just like skills. And what I wanted to ask you too was about the ebooks, like about the education content that you put out. Like who was like the main people so far that you've connected with that use your stuff?
So, pretty much, people in my network. So I've had I don't even know how to answer that. It's literally just people in my network. I've had lawyers
like
buy.
People,
So with my books, like all age ranges, people who wanted to know how to brand their business and build their business. I have one book called 10 Steps to Level Up in Business. And literally anybody who's, a beginner in business or intermediate, I think anybody could read it and it could be helpful because we can always learn. But anybody who's like business can read that book. And then my How to Fill Empty Pockets was about investing. And so anybody who wants to learn how to make their money work for you. Do you have any investments?
At the moment, I don't. That's why I'm asking all these questions because I'm so curious. Because the thing is, like, I have a lot of game in like sales. You know what I'm saying? But I know there's a lot of opportunity I'm missing right now when it comes to stocks, when it comes to like investing, property, real estate. Like these are things I haven't took that time to
So
go
you
into.
said it. You actually said it perfectly. Like I'm trying to bridge the gap. Like if you go into a room, like if we are all Caucasian, and I was like, who here has stocks? We'd probably. Maybe one person wouldn't raise their hand. But if I go into a room of black people, Mexican people, Latinos, minorities, and I say, who in here owns stock? One person's going to raise their hand. 3 people are going to raise their hand out of 100 people. And so I wrote this book because, like, yesterday I made $10 from it's a dividend. I don't know if you know what a dividend is, but I made $10 a dividend from the money that I have invested. It's not a lot.
But it's
in 10 years, that could be $1,000, $5,000. And so what happens is we talk about the 1% and the 99%. The 1%'s income kind of stays like kind of stagnant their whole life. Goes up, we'll say 5% every 5 years. With me and my income, and you talk about skills, it's so for you right now, you have sales skills, right? And so we look at this year. You've probably made. I'm just gonna put a number out. You say you made $50,000 this year, and you have no investments. That means that you're literally taking your money and you're spending it on stuff, and then you're saving maybe a little bit, and then at the end of the year you have nothing to show for it, nothing at all.
That's a common formula, very common formula.
That's the 99% of people. Like I just told you, like most people, that's what you guys are doing. What the 1% do, what I try to do, and what I try to teach people, and we talk about bridging the gap, is and why my products even exist and why there's even a demand for them is I told you I have a motorcycle, I have all that, but yesterday I made $200 in profit for my business. I sold some stickers. One lady she threw me $50. Another dude bought some stuff, $200. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take I have 2 different formulas, but I take 20%. I take 10%. I give it to charity, tithe to my church. I take another 10% and I save it. but I'm saving it for a big investment, you know, and then I take 10%, I put it in the stock market. And so what happens is me and you both make 50,000. At the end of the year, I'm going to have $5,000 in savings. Yep. I'm going to have $5,000 invested in the stock market, and I'll have given $5,000 to charity, which the charity thing does one thing majorly. It takes you from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, to the point where now there's so many freaking opportunities in this world, but it started when I started giving. And then by learning to give, the same hand that you give is the same hand you receive from. Yeah. So people who are like all tight, there's not any opportunities, we're going to fucking die, they're probably stingy as fuck. And so by giving, you learn to receive. And then by investing, people think, oh, I'm investing to make money. Let's reverse it to what this whole podcast started. Yeah. No, I'm investing in, right now I buy Starbucks. I want to make money from Starbucks, but I love that you can drive through. I love that when I have a project to work and I can go to Starbucks and work. Yeah. I love that. Have you ever felt racism at Starbucks? Like never. Like everybody in there be hella cool. How you doing? I've never been like, oh, look at what are you wearing? I've never that old man shit.
It's something you're proud to invest in.
And so I want to see that company grow. So I invest in that company grow. And if they make a profit, I make a profit. And so now you look at the end of the 5 years, I got 10 bands chilling. You know what I'm saying? And 5,000 of those are paying me. Yeah. I get a dividend 4 times a year. And so you start multiplying that by 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're financially free. I was able to buy a piece of real estate. I sold it. I have stocks now that pay me. I literally get dividends from these companies. Every quarter that they make a profit, I get paid through a dividend. And so the people who benefit from that are the 99% of people who at the end of the year don't have shit to show for what they've done. Yeah. And that's what started it for me, is like I was making I told you I've been making freaking clothes since I was 18, 19, 20. And I got to a point when I was 30 years old, 31 years old, and I started giving. God had a conversation with me, and he was like, look, you've been wasting all this time. And it's like, now it's time for you to invest in the community and invest in yourself. And it's like, that's the whole book of Rich Dad Poor Dad is about, is financial freedom. And the way to become financially free is when your investments pay for your lifestyle. Instead of, you should be taking a piece of your income and putting it into investments, into real estate, into stocks. And then here's the kicker. You and her, say you guys get married and you have kids. Can you pass that job on to your kids?
Sure, eventually that's the goal, right? Pass it down. Or not the job.
You can't. You really. It's only if they hire them. But can I give Can I give my real estate to my kids? Oh, yeah, can I give if I own a McDonald's? Can I give that to my kids? Yeah, and it's not like you're giving them a McDonald's. You're giving them cash flow.
Yeah, generational wealth.
Generational wealth
is real.
You know, there's a quote in the Bible. It's like the wise, their children's are blessed from what they do. So even my investment portfolio isn't crazy, but I could hand that cash flow, even though it's $10,
20 years, 30 years, that's just gonna be.
I could give that to my kids, and they're set. They don't have to worry about student loans.
The seed is planted.
So to shut down what I was saying, that's who I speak to. You said it perfectly. I'm trying to bridge the gap of. Our community wasn't taught that. That's why Nipsey Hussle was so prolific. Is because he taught black business. Even as crazy as Kanye West is, listen to what he's saying. He's talking about ownership in brands, ownership in owning land, owning your own products, owning the rights to your music. They're like, he's crazy as fuck, but he's on the right track. And so it's like, ownership. And what we've been, the 99% of people, we've been branded to think like, oh, Louis V, if you're not in Louis, you ain't shit. If you're not in Gucci, you ain't shit. But you ask those same people, do you own any Louis stock? Do you own any Gucci stock? Do you own anything?
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times
they be vouching hard for these people too.
Hard.
Not owning shit.
Nothing.
Oh man.
They don't even own. We don't own our cars. We don't own our house. They don't own shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And instead, we should be coming together. And how can we manufacture our own cars? You look at Tesla. How can we manufacture our own brand? How can we manufacture our own laptops? How can we manufacture our own mics and start ownership? You know, and so that's pretty much what I teach. But you have to learn how to do it. If you have to learn how to buy one stock and then get a dividend, and then that teaches you like, yo, if I buy a restaurant or a franchise, fuck, every day I'm not even there. I'm getting paid.
Period.
And so, but it's the transformation comes from going from nothing to growing. It's not about the money, but it's about who you become. And it's like, it changes your network.
It does.
I wouldn't, like, you guys would not be fucking sitting here listening to me if I didn't do this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would just be another cat, but it changes the doors that are open for you, it changes everything. Yeah. It changes your life. It changes your network, because now when I walk into a room, I still dress like this. But once people kind of talk to me like, oh, this cat's serious. Oh, you have a business? I'm going to spend with you. Yep. I'm going to you just spent $1,000. I'm going to reinvest it. So now me investing is leading to more investments. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So business beats business. So that's my long spiel about who I speak to.
Once again, delivery like Domino's, man. This guy's been coming through with the gems. But one thing that you did say, though, that I really like that you broke it down, like you actually broke down the formula, like in a scenario of you, what you made yesterday in your profit of $200, and you said you put 10% of charity and then the other 10% to your investment. Yeah. And that right there just told me, like, I could actually do that shit. Easy. Everyone thinks that investment, they think, oh, I need like 2, 3, 4, 5 bands to get started. Like, you actually just need a decent, like something that if you're working a part-time job as a busser, you get paid $300, $400. You might be able to do that with at least what? Is that like, what's the entry level amount that someone needs?
What, at 10%?
To get started.
So this is what you would do. You first go open a savings account, go open a brokerage account, either through E-Trade or through Robinhood. Okay. We're talking a busser, right? You take your income, you live off 70%. Yep. Give 10% to a charity or to your church, and then we'll say a busser makes $100. Yeah. Take $10 and put it in a savings account. Take $10 and put it into a brokerage account. And once you have enough money in your brokerage account, you could buy a stock. So after Starbucks, Starbucks stock is $70, $75 right now. So after 8 shifts of busing, you could have one Starbucks stock. And you just keep doing that. And your lifestyle's not going to change that much. You're actually not going to really see a difference because you're going to get used to it. There's a story. Have you read The Richest Man in Babylon?
I heard about it. Is that a book, right?
It's a book. Anybody, I recommend reading The Richest Man in Babylon. But there's a story in there. They ask a guy, hey, you, sir, it's about purses. He's like, my purse is empty. He's like, how much do you make? He's like, I make $5,000. He asks another guy, he's like, how much do you make? He's like, I make $100. He asks another guy, he's like, I make $3,000. And he's like, all you guys have empty purses. And so what it says is your expenditures will match your income. And so by paying yourself first, which is one of the principles in Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's why you do it first. I don't even see this 30%. It's gone. Yeah. And I live off the 70%. But then I be waking up, like, it'll be like 6 months. I'll be like, fuck, I saved fucking $5,000. I got 10 bands. Yep. And you do that. I've been doing it for 3 years. I was like, fuck, I could put a down payment on I can go in. I was a 20% partner, but I was like, damn, I could put 20% on a real estate deal. And then I get 20% of the profits. And then I could take that 20% of the profits and I could put it back into stocks and then look for more real estate and then sell those stocks and buy bigger real estate and just keep repeating. It's a domino effect. Yep. But you need to, you start off small, because when you start off small, then what happens is if you can't live off the 70%, you're going to start developing skills. Yeah. So for me, it's like, all right, now I have this, I'm a busboy. Yep. Like, you shouldn't be happy there. So it's like, okay, I'm putting that, now I own 1 share of Starbucks. I understand investment. Now you could give classes on investment and charge $10 on a Saturday to anyone who wants to come. Yep. And then what do? 10 people show up. You make $100. You already know what to do. I made $100. I'm going to put $10 to charity. I'm going to put $10 in my savings, and I'm going to put $10 in my brokerage account. Once I do 10 classes or 7 classes, I get to buy 2 Starbucks stock. So now you're making money from busing, and now you're making money from teaching people how to buy stock. And then it just grows. Now you could, okay, let me learn how to write a book. Yep. Now you have a book that teaches it, and you have the class, and you're a busboy. Now you're making 3 times as much as you were just by changing one action of investing, because you understand and other people want to understand. And so you just keep developing your skills, and as your income raises, your investments raise, and then your investments start paying you, and you already know what to do, and you just look for bigger and bigger investments. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And isn't that true? Like the top 5%, top 1%, whatever the number is, majority of their profits come from real estate and stocks, right?
Yeah.
Like all these rich ass people, majority of their money is coming from stuff they invested in, like,
or they created.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If you look at Amazon, he created a system. He literally just gets a piece of everything sold. Look at Tesla. He created a car. Look at before real estate was huge, but right now, if I bought I would spend in Atlanta, I could buy a piece of property with $35,000 down, and I could cash flow $500 a month. So I'm spending $35,000 to make $500 a month. You just told me you went to the flea market and made $500 a month. So it's like you don't real estate is good because now I just have money coming in from Atlanta, and you could use that money, but like investing is what you do with your money. It's not how you make your money in the beginning. Because we're young, we have skills. But you see these old crackheads that they don't have any investments. They worked for 40 years and they didn't invest anything. You're 26. If you just invest 10% for the next 10 years, that's $500,000. That means you'll make, that's on the lowest of low ends. You'll have $50,000 in an account that pays you a certain percent every month. $50,000, I just said you could buy a freaking house in Atlanta that cash flows you. And you just keep doing that every year. If you buy one house, your income, we talked about the 99%, their income's here. The 1%, their income just starts skyrocketing because it's like, your brain doesn't fucking shut off. Like I could literally leave here and I could write a book. I could create a banner. I could create t-shirts. I could create all types of shit. And it's like my brain just doesn't stop, but it's because I've invested in skills. And there's a point where after you have 10, 15 skills, you're golden. And if you just keep adding to that and you keep helping other people, like
one person I know that does, similar stuff that we do, where he calls himself as a solutions expert. And that's really like what you end up becoming when you become this full-fledged solution provider, like you said, helping people. Because everything naturally is just going to keep building off of that. So I agree with that 100%, man. That's super fun. That's super. Honestly, this whole podcast right here is a lot of game. You gave me a lot. You gave me a lot of insight right here. I guess one of the last two questions I'm going to ask you is, so if someone's starting off, right, they're inspired, they want to get involved with becoming an entrepreneur or an investor. So what would be the most strategic approach? Building a business, like a brand, like a clothing or something, or a product or a service, whatever, or stock, investing straight into that? What would you recommend?
Both. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create, you want to generate income. Without income being generated, no stocks are going to be purchased.
So let's go with the scenario that they only got $500 in their pocket.
If I had $500 in my pocket, I might take $250 and put it in the stock market. I might take $250 and start a business.
Okay, I like that.
And then I would just try to generate money off of the $250. So,
and then right now, what's a stock you would invest in right now?
So you want to invest in. So if you're trying to invest in stocks, get either the audiobook, Tony Robbins, Master the Game of Money, or get the audiobook. I listen to it. But the best thing for starters to invest in, there's two types of people, there's traders and there's investors. Traders sit on the computer every day and I don't trade. I'm an investor. I'm a passive investor, a long-term investor. The best stocks to buy are index funds. The one that I recommend, the easiest one is SPY, SPY. It's about $315 to buy one of them, but it has a dividend. And so I have a criteria. Very easy. Do you understand what it is? Do you think it's going to grow over the next 5 years, and does it have a dividend? If I can answer yes to those, I'll buy it. And obviously you can go deeper, but I'm just a very basic investor, very basic person if you really get to know me. But SPY, and what it is it trades the most 500 profitable companies in the United States. And they compare it to, imagine if Starbucks is like Kobe Bryant by himself. The SPY is like having Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, the 5 best players in the NBA, Rose, and like just the bomb. You know what I'm saying? The 5 best players, but imagine on the same team. Sometimes they might lose, but most of the time they're not. And so you're investing in the 500 most profitable companies. So I just invest all my business stuff. I invest in Starbucks. So when I make a business profit, I just put it into Starbucks. And then when I make a profit from because I do work, When I make a profit from my job or I get a paycheck, I put it into SPY. And so what that looks like is if I get a check for $2,000, I'll put $200 into my brokerage account. And then when I get another check for $2,000, I'll put another $200 and I'll buy one share of SPY. And so I'll just keep doing this over time. But I just think long term. I think about kids and I think about being able to teach this. And it's just a slow flow play because you think about, you've been working since 18. Imagine if you would have applied this since you were 18. You could have easily put away 10. Imagine how many, you would have bands right now, dog. You feel me? We would literally, we'd be buying buildings and shit.
That's real.
Straight up.
That's real. That's
straight
fact.
up.
But like all of it at the end of the day is like financial literacy.
Yeah.
Knowing where the money
exactly
goes
what it is.
to. And a lot of the people don't even get those basic fundamentals in high school. And not even
a lot of brown people don't get it.
Yeah, minorities. Period.
Minorities
like
don't
color,
get it.
Black, Latinos, like we all kind of are in the same situation.
The school system wasn't taught to make us money. The school system was taught so that we go to work and we're content with working.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
The school system, why do you think it's not an accident that the 99% are like the 99%?
Yeah, I agree.
We were bred to be like that. Want a house, want some kids, go home, watch TV, buy some Gucci, go on a vacation twice a year, die. That's what they wanted. But think about it, what companies are you going to? Who owns these companies? People who own, shareholders own the companies. Stocks are shares. So the shareholders, the 1%, they're not going home. They're not watching these programs. What are they doing? They're creating the programs. They're creating, hey, what do we want people to buy today? Okay, we want them to buy Lexus. Lexus is the hot item. You cue a Lexus commercial. Oh, honey, I want a Lexus. The 99%, they want a Lexus. The 1% sells Lexuses. So it's nothing wrong with buying a Lexus, but it's how do you go from that 99% mindset to that 1%? Like, how do I become a shareholder? Yeah. How do I fucking sell some Lexuses? How do I it's just a shift in mindset. The powers that be did not want us to be at the top because that's how they eat. That's how their family eats. Yeah. And they created a school system, a public free school system, so that, hey, you learn to read, you learn to write, you learn the history that we fucking tell you, and go work.
And it's funded by the property tax of the low-income neighborhoods around the area. So
yeah, that's deep.
It's just a fucking, it's a deep rabbit hole. But, I think stuff like this is going to be the pivot for people that want to go that direction.
2020 is an equalizer.
Time, for sure.
You know what I mean? People talk a lot of shit about Instagram. People talk a lot of shit about, social media. And it's just a tool. But at no point ever has a minority person been able to put something out and 1,000 people see it for free. No money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Someone's
and so
profiting. Someone's monetizing.
Yeah, in Instagram, obviously they're $1 billion company. But I'm saying we're able to monetize. We're able to profit. Yeah. We're able to break into that 1%. We're able to change our habits. We're able to learn. Like, there's never been a time where you could just be like, how to buy real estate. I could literally ask Siri, how do I buy my first piece of real estate? And articles will come up. You know what I'm saying? Our parents didn't have that. Yeah, they literally, if you think about our mom, they had their little side job and their main job. Yeah. And that was it.
The way of living is completely different from our generation. Especially like for first generation Americans. Like, I mentioned like my parents are from Nicaragua. Yeah. They migrated over here like in the late 80s when the communism and the war against the Civil War was going on. So a lot of people were leaving as refugees. And they came to America with nothing. You know what I'm saying? My dad went from working truck driving, jack-in-the-box manager to now being an IT specialist for like a tech company out here. Yeah. So it's like a big transformation. But the fact that he had that opportunity to do so and was able to invest in himself and them skills and create those opportunities, like not everyone gets the chance to do so, but it's all about what you take with it. You know,
I'm gonna put this out there. I can even end on there's no excuses.
Period.
Straight up.
Yeah, there's as a matter of fact, there's always a way to make something happen. Like there's some guy on my block that comes every day, like on the weekends to get during garbage day to get cans. And
no excuses.
Homie got no arm, and he walks around with and she sees it like he be with the stroller with his fucking niece, like his granddaughter, in the cart, bro, pushing. Oh, we just filling up the can every day. I know for sure he walk away with 300.
And so then that's where the investing comes in. It's like he could keep doing that and he's probably going to do it. But if he just takes $30 every day, eventually he won't have to do that anymore. Or if he continues to do it, his money will start to work with him. So investing's for everybody. No excuses.
Well, man, I think I'm going to conclude it on that. There's a lot of hour of content of gems on here. I'm going to break these up into part and make sure social media sees this. So where can people find you? How could they access you?
They can't. I'm out.
Well, how could they get your courses, your printing services?
I on Instagram is Part of the Culture. It's spelled normal, Part of the Culture. Or you can go to my website. It's partoftheculture.art. Partoftheculture.art, spelled normal.
Well, JD, man, thank you so much for coming down. It's my first time for me getting a chance to meet you. I learned so much today, and I know this won't be the last time we talk. There's definitely going to be more things that we'll be going back and forth with. And shout out to everyone that's listening. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to hear this information.
Yeah,
we're trying to uplift the culture and just kind of stimulate people's senses in the way to think differently and how can they impact their culture, their community. But with that being said, any last minute things you want to tell the people?
No excuses.
No excuses. You heard it. You heard it here from himself. JD, man, shout out. It ain't exclusive. If it ain't an EMLN exclusive, it's your boy BQ. It's Low Key Facts Podcast, and we out.
Out.
Told her we can have it all if we do it together. You know I'ma pass the ball, but only to my brother. You know I'ma pass the blunt, but only to my sister. I'm